And that's true. Oh, now I'm talking loud all of a sudden. The voice of God. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Progressive International Motorcycle Stage. My name's Pat Jansen. I've got Sin Central Garage just outside of Des Moines, Iowa. I'm here at the show with Grease and Gears Garage, and because my friend Jeff Major is in charge of the JMP Cycles Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show, I get to interview people here on stage when he tells me I have to, because I must be afraid of him. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know how this works, but he gets me cool stuff, though, so I keep doing it. Guys, first of all, welcome to the JMP Cycles Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show. It's the National Championships. This is a huge deal. This is a big week for everybody here that's involved with the custom motorcycle world. Just so you guys know, when you're in the JMP Cycles Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show, which is the bike show with the longest name in the world, by the way, the reason this is a big deal, when you win here, it's nationals, and you're going to get the opportunity then to go compete in the World Championship in Germany for the AMD World Championships representing the United States. You're going to win $10,000. You're going to win this roller chassis from Paco. It comes with a lot of perks. Mod Harley class, Harley Davidson corporate comes with a 120R motor that they give away. So there's a lot of money, $70,000 in prizes this weekend, and the opportunity in the freestyle class to go represent the United States in the World Championship. So, but I'm going to start this end. If you'll just kind of, what's your name, and if you have a shop, your shop name, or if you're a garage builder, kind of what city you're building out of.
Hey guys, Steve Dietzman, 25 years old, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
All right. Yeah, Steve actually won the Restomod class last year with a red Triumph. He brought his own fan base. I know that a mutual friend, I was going to say a good friend of ours, but he's just a mutual friend, I would say, Matt with Royal Enfield. You guys were getting the bike all timed up. Living room so that you could get a video of it to send to Jeff because the bikes have to run. So they were up all night, and at 5:30 in the morning they were rolling it quietly out of the house in order to get it to the show. But you've got a beautiful shovel head here. So you're a garage builder. And introduce yourself.
My name is Tyler Foster. I'm from Tioga, Pennsylvania. I own a shop called Sick Pipes. We're specialized in custom exhaust systems, but we do a lot of metal fabrication all around, build a few bikes a year, but mainly we work on exhaust systems and build those.
All right, what do you have here in the show?
I've got a 01 Road King. It's the brown bike up in, I guess they call it the final round room up top there.
Right.
It's a brown Road King sitting up there. It's a 01, so yeah,
all right.
That's what I brought with me.
So that Road King qualified
in New York City.
In New York City, and it's displayed in with the guys that have won. That's how you end up in the Nationals. We do these shows around the country. We've done 5 other shows that will qualify you to be able to get into this national championship. So beautiful bike, by the way.
Joel Gurath from Backbone Built Bikes out of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I machine mostly custom parts for bolt-on soft-tail frames with swing arms, frame fillers, anything billet. If someone wants to bring their bike to me, I'll machine whatever they want. So
all right.
It's usually built machine to order.
And what bike do you have here in the show?
We got my customer is Kurt. He's got a 2001 Fat Boy. We got my hybrid swing arm on there with a custom brake mounts that I do and frame filler, and we got a Springer front. So
all right.
Turned out pretty nice.
All right.
My name's Adam Karns. I'm straight out of Delmar, Maryland. I feel like the old dude up here anymore. I don't know what happened. But
you are. Yeah. Well, we are, but you are that way.
I have a small shop out of Delmar. It's called Karns Customs. We're just a few guys in there having a great time building some killer bikes.
Yeah, and the bike you've got here, I think you've got more than one, but I know that I saw that bike you kind of debuted your bike over here, your Shovelhead, at Ocean City Bike Week this year. So tell me about that bike that you got.
Yeah, we conveniently located them all over here so everyone could see them as here, so it worked out well. But no, that's a 1974 Shovelhead, and what I wanted to do with that bike, I didn't want to tear it up, so I couldn't take it back to originality down the road if I changed my mind, but I wanted to give it some updates such as front and rear air. I stretched the fenders. I put a 21-inch on the front. Nothing too crazy, but just super clean. And the piece on that bike, it really stands out. All the handwork that Jason Wharton, he's a real famous artist in our area. He's actually here today. But he does all one shot, pinstriping, paint, knocked it out of the park.
He did. That's a beautiful bike. It's a blue bike over here on the edge. And for sure, anybody that's built a bike, and tells you I wouldn't change a thing, would they have lied? Yeah, because, you never get done. I built a bike for Matt and the folks at Royal Enfield, and man, I look at that bike every time I look at it. I'm like, man, I need to disassemble it and start over. I need to chrome this. I need to polish that. And so you just never can get them finished. And that is true of you as too, Adam. When I saw it on social media and couldn't find it again, your post, you built that bike, debuted it in September at Ocean City Bike Fest, and then you took it home and took it apart again.
That's right. And as all these guys know, working your own bike, you have other customer bikes that come in that sits on the back shelf to the week before. We just got that bike done last week. It was pushing it to get it back together.
Right on. Now, somebody hand that young man at the end a microphone. This is Steve Eiselstein. He is a fellow Iowan out of Anamosa with JMP Cycles. And Steve, you go around the country with JMP Cycles. Pretty much, you are the face of the company when it comes to the retail side of giving people access both to catalog purchases and event purchases, kind of at rallies. You manage all the big trucks and everything. Tell us about your involvement, JMP's involvement with the JMP Cycles Custom Builder Show.
Well, a lot of what these guys do is create things that other people want to replicate. You see we get pictures all the time. Hey, I saw this on this guy's bike, or I saw this at this bike show. And not all of it can be replicated. There's so much one-off here, but people want to change their bike. They don't want a stock bike. They want to do something that's uniquely theirs. So part of what we do is provide options for that, both in performance or looks.
Yeah. Well, we just had Evan Favaro from Speakeasy Motors on stage, and he was crafting a handmade fuel tank for a motorcycle up here. And, we had in that time the opportunity to talk about what it costs, the value of something that an American craftsman has made by hand, a one-off piece, the value in that. There's a lot of, aesthetic, artistic value in that piece, but there's also you can monetize that beauty. There is a value to that in terms of dollars. And so I think that really helps when then people come to JMP Cycles catalog and they're looking through and they say, what do you mean that gas tank's going to cost me that? Well, it's really nice then to be able to say, well, why don't you go to Grease and Gears Garage on YouTube, look up Evan Favaro, see what it would take you to build that by hand. And if they do that, then they're going to say, wow, you guys have great prices on fuel tanks. Evan says that he'll have 25, 26 hours in the simplest of tanks, just kind of replicating what is a modified Sportster gas tank. So you can imagine, the more extensive tanks. But JMP has just been so good, which is why you're the world's largest distributor of aftermarket motorcycle parts. But you guys have been in this. When did John start JMP Cycles?
The precursor to JMP was in the mid-'70s. JMP Cycles officially started in 1979. Really with swap meets, hosting races, hosting bike events, bike builds on the boardwalks in Daytona. He owned them all over the world, and he decided to concentrate on parts, and the company grew. The company took off. However, our roots are in the bike builds, the bike events, the build-offs, and they wanted to get back into that, back to the roots. So one thing that's been good about this is we've been able to help provide a little bit for the builders to give them the opportunity to bring their builds to the public so everybody can see them. Because I know they all appreciate their own work in the garage, but it's nice to see are nice to allow other people to see those and be able to appreciate those too. So, and then competing for money isn't too bad either.
Yeah, exactly. So, bike building is a labor of love. I mean, anybody that thinks they're going to get rich building motorcycles, it's not going to happen. Quit while you're ahead. So, Steve, I know you're hungover, but please try to pay attention. Matt told me to say that. But, yeah, think twice. I see a lot of guys ruin a perfectly good hobby by jumping in and starting a shop. So I know that was my case, but I didn't really have any other skills, so that's what I had to do. Now, tell me about the bike, one of the bikes that you've got, the bike that you've got here. It's an 01 Fat Boy, you said. Tell me, kind of describe that kind of the way Adam did with what have you done to that bike, and kind of what was the flavor that you brought to that that's specifically yours?
Well, my buddy Kurt always wanted a Softail Springer, which they don't make anymore. He regretted it his whole life, and he came to me. He saw a Springer I built about 4 years ago. I do a Springer with JC and Jimmy Lee at 3.2 choppers, and JC called me one time and said, let's do it as a kit. So we do it as a kit to run anything from 16 to a 26-inch wheel with no neck cutting, and it took off pretty well. So he taught me getting back into CNC machining and stuff like that, and I got my computer back out and started designing some parts, and now I'm doing swing arms to actually lay frames and Softails, and that's been taking off like crazy. So I know DA Performance has used my swing arm. They got it on the Chapo bike over here, and I got the first swing arm that I just got finished last week for House of Harley on their 2018 monoshock frame. It's the first one in the world to lay it out. So
right on, man. That's cool.
I think the Softails are starting to come around. Everything kind of goes.
I didn't know you had that out. I'm working on one of those at the house. That kind of just wounded me a little. I'm gonna recover. All right, let's move on. Hand somebody a microphone that didn't just steal a lot of money out of my pocket. Anyway, what bike you got? Tell us kind of what your flavor was on the bike you brought.
It's the 01 01 Road King that I was telling you about. I guess when I was building it, the bagger thing's gotten huge. Everyone's seen them, and it's been a huge craze. And I guess I was always into the bobbers and choppers. That's what I enjoyed and liked the most. I guess I tried to bring that to the bagger industry, or that as much as I possibly could. Just strip the bike down, round backbone, single tube, down tube. Just stripped everything off. Did small things like relocated the oil filter to the side of the bike, like on some of the older bikes they do that, on the shovels and pan heads and stuff. Just a super, super simple bike, no turn signals, really slimline hand controls. I guess, and it's probably the bike that I built the most on myself. I've bought pretty much the bags and the fender, and I still change them, but the rest of the bike, I feel like I hand built as much as I possibly could on the bike in my shop. We coated it in-house, fabricated it, and I guess that's probably one of the things I like about it the most is that, and like I said, tried to make it. A lot of people say, they're like, oh, it's a chopper with saddlebags, which, I guess it's kind of what I was going for. I don't know if I quite like that name, but that's kind of what I was going for. Just really stripped down, basic, just super hardcore and that chopper style. So.
Yeah, man. Now, did you go to school? Are you an MMI grad? Or
no, I just watched my pops when I was younger building and, like hot rods and race cars. And then I worked for a small fabrication company, a metal fab shop for a couple of years out of high school, like 4 or 5 years. And then I just started doing this kind of on the side, and it just kind of took over, doing it full time. And I've had my shop now for almost 11 years. We've been building custom exhaust systems. We started out just for Sportsters, and Sportsters only. They seemed like they were a hard bike to get, like a gnarly set of chopper style pipes, and then just kind of grow from there. Now we do them for shovel heads and Evos, twin cams, iron heads, everything. So.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, you're doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
One of the things that, you mentioned, trying to do a bagger, strip stuff down. One of the things, if you're looking at doing a custom bike and you're like, well, I've never done a custom bike before, I don't really know what to do. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but you can now get the old Road Kings, like the Evo Road Kings, 97, 98, 99, those late 90s Road Kings, and you can get them pretty dirt cheap. You can see those things $3,000 to $4,500 all day long. And I think one of the most fun. I've got a '97 Road King. It's in its 13th incarnation. Every time I show up someplace, Jeff Holt was with Hot Bike. Always is like, man, did you get another bike? And I'm like, nah, it's the same bike, man. I'm just poor. I just keep rebuilding the same one. But you get one of those bikes, you can really play with it, strip it down, see what you can do with it, cool. And you get a nice riding bike that you can really begin stretching your skills on one of those. So that's a great, and it gives you something that's comfortable to ride around. So, but you guys are doing a killer job there. Now, Steve, your mom must be a saint. She's going to get a stained glass window someplace. Have you destroyed the carpet in her house?
No, pretty cautious on that.
Okay.
And then the pipes actually face up and the ceiling's white. So when we fired it, I was like, oh man, I might have to paint that ceiling. Yeah. But it didn't burn too much oil, so.
Now, obviously, your mom went to bed and you guys are firing this bike up in her house. You had the windows open.
Yeah, to equalize the pressure.
Yeah, Matt said, your mom said, hey, it kind of stinks in here. Open the windows. And oh yeah, and they already had them open, so they were like, and it's cold. I don't know if you guys noticed, so they got all the windows open in Mom's house. So that's gracious. My first wife, she actually had them write that down as one of the things she didn't like about me, and so it's legally recorded that I'm an idiot and tried to build I didn't have heat in my shop at the time. So it turns out it was a good idea for me. But worked out well. Let's keep doing it. But it's going to be good for your mom because eventually, do you live at home with your mom? Yeah, eventually it's going to be good for her because that'll be the thing that kind of gets you out. But talk to me about this bike that you brought, though.
It's just a '79 shovelhead chopper. I just like choppers. So king queen seat, wide glide front end. Extended tubes, lots of chrome, lots of polished parts. Yeah.
Now, when I look at that bike, and I look at the bike that you brought last year, the Triumph, and then I wonder how many 8-balls do you have to sell in Chicago? No, I mean, how do you make enough money to build these bikes? You're not a shop. It's expensive to build a motorcycle. What do you do for work, like real work?
I'm a sales rep for an industrial supplier.
All right, so you do pretty good. You got a real job.
Yep.
So, but man, I tell you, you do it as really a labor of love. I mean, we know what it's like to do it to make money, but like I don't build spec bikes. It's like when Royal Enfield, we struck that deal, and I was like, all right, and they said, well, you're going to get to keep the bike. I mean, that's as close as I've ever come to building a bike without a customer in mind. So, do you have intentions of selling the bikes, or are you keeping them, or?
The goal would be to never sell one. Just keep building.
Them.
Throwing them in the stable.
Man, that's great. That is a hide them. Yeah. Now, are you married?
Single.
That dream will end. That dream will end. Carl Pusser from Walking Tall Cycles was here. He built the beautiful purple Triumph as you come in the show. There, it was on the Hot Bike Tour, and I asked him on stage yesterday, I said, now, is that bike for sale? He said, well, and his wife Cindy was sitting out there, and she said, yes, it's for sale. So, yeah, that'll change eventually. Evan Favaro, that was just up here building, another great young builder, started the year. Last year he had 10.5 acres up in Waukegan, New York. And now he's got 5 1/4 because he got engaged at the New York City show on stage. So they just cut everything he owned right in half. I don't know. It changes. I don't know why. So, but good luck with that goal. So beautiful bike though. Now, how did you get your skills? How did you start wrenching on bikes?
Very inspirational people growing up. Other than that, just wanting to learn how to do something and taking the steps to do it.
All right. So if somebody wanted to just start building a custom bike for themselves, how would you suggest that they, begin to find the people that can help them?
Network with people. And if there's one thing I could say, it's don't do what other people tell you to do. It's do what you want to do.
Okay.
Stick to that.
All right. Now, Adam, let's give the old guy the microphone. How did you get in? How did you find your skill set for bikes?
I couldn't afford cars, My brother's, he's into drag racing, and I've always worked with him, wrench with him. He's an older brother, but he showed me a lot of the hands-on stuff and the mechanical part. Loved it, couldn't afford it. Started with a motorcycle, I could afford it, and then from there it just snowballed to 13, 14 years later was wrenching on.
That's great. Now, do the three of you, one of the things that I encourage guys to do, that regardless of your age, it doesn't matter if you're 12 or if you're 70, if you want to start getting into building custom motorcycles, I say go for it. And one of the things that I encourage people to do, but I also encourage shops to do, and I'm curious to know if any of you do it, is to allow people to, come in, as they can, obviously let you know they're coming in, but just to hang around and watch and help with simple things. Do any of you have gals that do that in your shops?
We back home, we have a bunch of local shops that are really getting together, trying to get a lot of the younger builders into it and kind of help them through some of the struggles we went through, help them along the way and help them get to that next level they want to go to.
Right.
I'd say like one of the biggest things that I always tell everybody too, because I have a buddy that comes to my shop every night and works late with me and helps me out on a ton of stuff, is to never stop. I never stop learning and listening and watching. I always get a kick when you talk to some people, and some people think I don't want to say they know it all, but you kind of get that feel, and you're standing back and you're going, man, I've seen some of the gnarliest bike builders there are in the industry, and they're still learning today, and they tell me that, and you can learn so much by stop talking and just watching a little bit, and I know that's definitely one thing that I've done, just like I said, like originally with my pops when I was little, I guess learned a little bit there and kept going, and then still today, like talking to all the builders and learning and walking around their bikes and really studying what they've done. So that definitely helps out as well, just always teaching yourself to pick up new things and learn new ways.
It's easy to get discouraged when you're building custom motorcycles. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. I remember many, many years ago, I was sitting at a bar in Long Beach, and beautiful bartender there, and I figured I was going to give her a nice tip, and so I made her a Hawaiian shirt, origami Hawaiian shirt out of a $20 bill, and that was her tip. I was like, a guy down the bar from me saw me do that, and he pulled out his knife, and we were drinking 24-ounce. I won't say this guy's name. You'll figure it out in Long Beach. He took a 24-ounce PBR can and a pocket knife, and he made it into a motorcycle that he rolled down the bar to her. And at that moment, I was like, I'm probably not going to have the same skill set as other people. There's some people that are just off the chain. Man, God, I'm still mad about it because I still remember it, obviously. But anyway, obviously, I've done okay. I'm here in Chicago with these guys. But anyway, it's easy to get discouraged. But learn and try to find somebody that you can trust, though, like physically. Don't try to learn everything off YouTube. There's a lot of jack-offs out there that are, doing really bad work and pawning it off and taking pictures and, and doing videos and just giving bad advice. It's some of the stuff they're building is dangerous. So try to find a local shop. Now, do you guys have anybody hanging out with you?
Yeah, my customer here, he's hanging out all the time. I had to go buy a bottle of Jack Daniels for him because he's coming over. Sure he is. But I tell people they can stop over anytime. I got cold beer for them anytime they want. So
yeah, so find a shop that'll let you, and when you go, offer something, sweet, clean, be willing to pick up, be willing to, one of the things that I had a guy show up years ago. Oh, he's in his mid-60s. He just wanted to hang around his shop and said if I could learn something, it'd be cool. But he would always go in my toolbox with Windex and paper towels and wipe down all my tools. And it sounds like a goofy thing for somebody. Man, I wish I could find that guy. It was the handiest thing. I would pick up my tools, and it wasn't like picking up a booger on a doorknob, It was really nice to have. But, you can go, and you would be surprised how much you can learn just hanging out, being willing to not talk and watch. We've been doing Grease and Gears Garage all over the country for 2 years, and it's amazing to see, for myself, but all of the builders. We've got the most talented builders in the world on the stage, they're watching somebody else, and they're like, oh, man, that's the coolest trick. You can't know everything. You simply can't know everything. So anybody have any questions for these guys? Except you two? Oh, yes, here.
I just want to know, like right down the line, including Steve and Pat, your dream build.
Oh, we need a microphone down there. Let's go from Haselstein. Tell them what bike you would love to see somebody build.
I'm an Ironhead fan. I like old iron. So the 900 is arguably one of the best engines that Harley Davidson ever did. I rolled an old Ironhead, loved it, beat up on it. I talked to someone earlier. Sportster motors they're near bulletproof, and they're a lot of fun. So a lot of power in a small package. So not so much restoration, lighten it up, lighter wheels, lighter frame, cut a bunch of stuff out of it, and just make it move. So
there you go. How about you, Steve? What bike would you dream about building if you could build the bike of your dreams? The one you just built?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about you?
I guess any of the older bikes. I like all the like he said, the iron heads and the shovel heads are always cool, and make them a little bit newer so they're more rideable. You know what I mean? And not that they weren't rideable, but you know what I mean. Just make them more, maybe retrofit them with better brakes and better parts and pieces so that they ride and handle like a new bike, but they have that older, power plant.
Well done. Bobber, chopper, cafe.
Bobber chopper style, definitely. That's the cool
okay.
thing. Never gonna die.
I agree with Tyler. I'm with him on that. Old shovels, knuckles, pans, stuff like that. Modernize them a little bit, kind of give them that retro feel, kind of like what they do with the cars, and that's my style, just like that. Bobber, I love the bobbers, love the choppers. They're never going to die. So
right on.
I'm a Sportster guy, true and true. I've started out doing Sportster. I still do Sportsters today. That's what I'm known for. It's a great life of, if you don't want anybody to know who you are, build Sportsters.
Unless you're Pat Patterson, he kind of blew that.
Is that? But no, that's it. I mean, I love the board tracker style. I have one right over here. I know folks can't see it on live, but that's my style. That's, big skinny front wheel, skinny rear wheel. I've done 23s, 26s, 18s, 19s, whatever you want to do.
Right on.
And I just love that style.
Right. For me, I've had a bike in my head for years. I don't think I'm ever going to be smart enough to build it. Right now, I think I've got it. I mean, I know what I'd build. I just don't know how to do it. I mean, or afford to do it. I want to build a Road Glide style bike with an Evo power plant with a turbo on it. But I want the frame. I want to build a touring frame out of carbon fiber wheels, carbon fiber bag. I want a complete carbon fiber bike. I was fortunate enough to be associated with a shop in Atlanta that had built a carbon fiber motorcycle. They did frame. I think the whole frame on that bike weighed 26 pounds. And we put carbon fiber wheels on it from BST in South Africa. And I don't know if you guys have ever ridden a motorcycle that has carbon fiber wheels on it, but it lightens up the handling. You have less unsprung weight. For those of you that want to know how to pick up horsepower, go on a diet. For every 7 pounds you lose, you pick up 1 horsepower, regardless of what it is. So every 7 pounds, you're going to pick up 1 horsepower. And I would love to have about a 124-inch S&S motor with a turbo on it in a Road Glide format made out of carbon fiber. And I figure that bike total, without the drivetrain and the front end, all the other components would weigh right at about 50 pounds. So all you'd pretty much be running is the weight of the front end, which would be negated because it's just a structure member. It wouldn't add to weight, and the motor. So it would, which negates its own weight by being able to. So you could basically have a 0-pound bike going down the road. That's my dream. I think it would handle great. In Iowa, I'd probably get blown off the interstate with a strong wind had come, and I'd go from being on 80 to 70, Pretty soon I'm on 10, and I'm heading to Louisiana, but that's my dream bike, guys. So obviously I had that queued up. Carbon fiber, I think, is the one thing in motorcycles at least for me in custom motorcycles, that we haven't utilized yet, and because we haven't cracked the code on how to do it inexpensively and how to form it structurally. And so I'd like somebody to crack the code on that. I'm sure that next year now, somebody's going to have a road glide that weighs 50 pounds of this show. Probably running the swing arm that got on my lift. Anyway, so anybody got any more questions for these guys while we got them up here? Yeah. Can you hand him that microphone?
Hey, when you guys get done building these bikes and are ready to go to paint and whatnot, like what's your motivation for putting paint on these bikes as far as colors you're going to pick and what people are going to see first when you look at the bike? Adam, your bike, that purple bike, how did you get that paint on that bike?
The crunk juice. He's local to us. He knows all about the crunk juice. It's a drink that we drink over at the shop. It's a purple blend of vodka, Red Bull, and some other good stuff.
Whoa.
But that color came from that, is where it came from.
Adam, now I've been at Ocean City Bike Week with you, and I haven't had this concoction. Why are you holding out?
You never came over.
Oh, well, you're going to regret that, buddy. You know that stuff's portable. You can bring it to the show. I know it is because I bring it to the show with me. So man, I tell you, well, guys, I think we're right about out of time. So I thank you guys more than anything. You know, Steve, and take it back to J&P. You know, we talk about this all the time, and you know that in this industry, you're always looking for a sponsorship. You're always looking for something. I know Grease and Gears Garage is talking with you guys now about doing some stuff, but not blowing sunshine up anybody's butt. Man, from the bottom of my heart, go back and make sure that you tell J&P how much we appreciate from the custom end, that availability to be able to pick up a telephone or get on the internet and buy a custom part that's going to save us hours, and that it's going to be there, it's going to be reliable, it's going to be well priced. And so you guys have really killed it, and you at points have been the thread that kept custom motorcycles being built in this country. So really appreciate that. You guys, I mean, even you, unfortunately, are younger than me, but just seeing you guys being willing to, you know, this isn't getting anybody rich building motorcycles.
That's true.
And but just for your artistic expression, your willingness to do it and not give up, and continue to go back and pull out a computer and say, okay, I'll get dragged back in. You can drag me back into doing this. But to be pushing the envelope on new stuff, and for you, Steve, just as a young guy, man, the skill set that you've got as a garage builder and the passion you've got for it. You know, we work on customer bikes, and then our stuff comes last. You're working on your own stuff, financing it, doing the whole nine, doing it in your mom's living room, which is unbelievable to me. Man. Wow, that is, you are so lucky. If you can marry your mother, now don't marry your mother. I don't think you can do that in Illinois. You need to move south to do that. And I can say that because I'm from the South. You are too, Joan. You know it. You get into Arkansas, you can do just about anything. But no, really, you find somebody like your mom, that's awesome. You'll have that collection then. So, but thank you so much, and I thank you, Progressive International Motorcycle Show, Progressive Insurance for the stage, and J&P Cycles for the J&P Cycle Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show. Gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck in the show.
Well, thank you so much, Grease and Gear.